Hey guys, I hope this finds you having a great Friday so far. Today's readings are all of chapter 13 in the book of John, all of chapter 13. And as you know, each day we have a different person from our youth read a section from our assigned reading. And today our readings are being done by Logan Wagner. Logan, take it away.
Hi everyone. Today's passage comes from John chapter 13, verses 1 through 17. It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. The evening meal was being served, and the devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "A person who has had a bath needs only to wash his feet. His whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." Thank you.
Thanks, Logan. In today's readings, we see that the final week of Jesus' life took place during the festival of Passover. Passover was a Jewish holiday, still is a Jewish holiday, that celebrates the Jews' freedom from Egyptian slavery. It happens, of course, in the book of Exodus, and specifically the festival celebrates the final moments when God changes the heart and mind of Pharaoh by sending the angel of death to kill every firstborn in Egypt. The Jewish people were passed over by this angel of death because God had told them to kill a lamb and put its blood above their doorpost so that when the angel of death came to their household, he would pass over them. He would not kill anyone in their house. In the same way, we see that Jesus' death is going to accomplish a similar thing for us. When God pours his wrath upon humanity, when he judges humanity for our sins, we see that Jesus' blood is going to allow God to pass over us. In the same way the blood of the Lamb saved the Jewish people in Egypt, Jesus' blood is going to save us in the final days. In today's story, we see that the disciples and Jesus are having the Last Supper. In those times, people only wore sandals, and the roads were quite dusty. So this meant that when you came home for the day, your feet were probably quite disgusting. To make matters worse, when you ate together with individuals, there were no tables, there were no chairs. Instead, you laid on the ground on probably a cushion or two. This meant that when you ate, it probably was quite possible someone else's feet would be near you, and especially if they were sweaty and dusty, that would have been quite disgusting. To fix this problem, normally a servant would go around and wash each individual's feet with water. In today's story, for whatever reason, there is no servant present. It probably would have been the job of a disciple to wash someone's feet. But it's entirely possible that the disciples didn't want to step up and do this task, because doing so would be admitting that they were less than the other disciples. Imagine their horror when Jesus starts to dress in servant garb and he goes around washing each disciple's feet. Jesus is the only one that shouldn't be washing their feet, right? They speak up and tell Jesus, no, don't wash my feet. But he corrects them, saying, no, I need to do this. This is my example of service to you. It's my example of love to you. We, of course, know that Jesus would later even take a greater example to show us his love, a greater act of service to us when he died on the cross. The rest of the story moves onward. We see that Jesus calls out Judas, and the devil goes into Judas, and he goes off to betray Jesus, to get that prepared. We also see an interaction between Jesus and Peter, where Jesus tells Peter that he will deny him 3 times in the next 24 hours. But the thing I think is perhaps most interesting is that last command Jesus gives the disciples. Here in verse 34, he says, look, a new command I give you. Love each other as I have loved you. That's Jesus' command to us. Love each other as he has loved us. On the other side of the cross, we know that that is a great task. However, we who have been greatly loved by Jesus are excited and motivated to greatly love others. Love others with a servant's heart today. Love others like Jesus today. I hope you've been enjoying the readings. I'm praying for you guys. I know I have enjoyed doing this with you. Stay tuned tomorrow for another daily devotion.